Chief of Staff, former, who was under the ex-Wa Mahama administration, Alessegbefia, has also said that it is unacceptable for that to happen at the seat of the presidency or the government. And also, McMill has pulled down the video. He has apologized. The apology he made mention of is, my apologies to the people of Ghana. We're still going to push to make the connection between black people in America and Africa. What I'm trying to do is more than a video. You should see coming soon. My apologies to the office of the presidency. It's just clear that he didn't know what he was doing. But then again, people are saying that if he is not aware of what he did, the officials at the Jubilee House should have prompted him that what you are doing is going to bring a problem. Because we have the Black Star Square there, we have Kakum Forest there, you can go and do your shoots there. It's also going to portray Ghana. We have Cape Coast Castle there, we have Elmina Castle there. We have a number of things in this country that even when you do your video there, it portrays the country.
Yes, I think that eventually the point is that he breached, or some protocols were breached. I wouldn't say he breached the protocols, because again, there are steps in place to prevent that people do not go against this. Now, we will say he breached if he had done so against express directives for him not to do so. Communications that we've had, not officially do, but from people within the close to the seat of government, suggests that there was that sort of free range and free will for which he was allowed to do what he did. So the point is that we have to establish that, at least on the face value, and if you contrast what has happened to what Samiri Afe was saying, he breached certain protocols, because at least you can't have camera equipment beyond a certain point. And we saw videos of him and pictures of him, and these are not official pictures from the presidency that you say it was the media team of the presidency that took these. So on the face level, you can see this breach. Now, you may be tempted to say that we are exaggerating this, but we are not exaggerating this. In the kind of world that we live in now, in the kind of world that you cannot even trust your allies that much, you have to be careful.
Very careful.
And no country is a small country. You may think Ghana is a small country, but until another country decides to turn against you, there you know that there's a lot at stake that you need to protect. And I think that the presidency, as we see, is a serious establishment.
The security zone.
Yes, it's a serious establishment. And for me, I don't think we are exaggerating that much. But for me, the most important thing is the silence at the presidency.
Exactly. So in 24 hours or more after the incident happened, we will know that some crisis or some damage control has to be done. But,
no. For me, not necessarily damage control, but at least an explanation
to what happened.
To what happened, to tell us whether or not whether or not there's been a breach of protocol, whether or not the government decided to allow him to do so for A, B, C, D. It is more worrying because somewhere in October 6 last year, the presidency, in a letter signed by the chief of staff, came out with a statement indicating to ministers, indicating to government appointees that they have to react to allegations 12 hours when brought to their attention. 12 hours when allegations are brought to their attention. Now, this is a statement from the presidency, from the chief of staff, telling the minister that if you are the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Samuel Abdullah Janapo,
yes,
if there's a matter against you, make sure that within 12 hours you respond, and you liaise with Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah to respond. Chief of Staff, fast forward October to January, there's a matter at the presidency, happens on Sunday. A number of people tweeted about it. The whole of Monday. I mean, even if my math is wrong, we've gone past 24 hours. Yes. It just gives an indication of how serious we attach to governance. Because, I mean, if you attach some seriousness to governance, and if you have this protocol directing your communication strategy, I don't think that the presidency will now be holding a meeting to see whether or not to respond to us. When you have given your ministers and appointees to respond 12 clear hours.
12 clear hours. So, there are a lot of questions. Come film areas. To another story that is also making rounds, and that has to do with the individual bondholders that are asking government to divert funds meant for construction of roads and contingency funds to be used to settle their matured investments or face legal action.
Some individual government bondholders are asking the government to divert funds meant for the construction of roads and for the contingency fund to be used to settle their matured investments or face legal action. Now, the government in December revealed that this group of bondholders who hitherto were exempted from the local debt exchange program will be included in the program. But the group says the new directive will negatively impact them. We have more in this report.
The announcement of the inclusion of the individual bondholders to the debt exchange program followed the decision by government to exclude pension funds after stiff opposition from labor unions. But who are these individual bondholders, and what impact do they envisage if the debt exchange pulls through?
Some are unemployed persons. They were formerly in employment. You see some of the banks that collapsed. Some of the bankers who lost their jobs. Some are these people. So when they lost their jobs, the little savings they had, try to put in investments so that they plan periodically. So maybe you have small in bonds, so you know that in March you get X amount. Then you have a little in treasury bills. So in April you get this interest. That. So that's how people have done it. And also there are the pensioners who are very popular in this category, right? So unemployed people, students, pensioners, etc.
According to lawyer for the bondholders opposing the inclusion, all individual bondholders are about 14,000 in number. However, those who have so far expressed their opposition are less than 400. But would the number of people who come forward for this cause matter?
We've crossed the threshold because at least 250, and that's a huge number. 250 Ghanaians getting up. That's a huge number. In every human endeavor, even if no matter how easy it is, it's normal to find that some people will not show up. Not because they don't want to, but either they've not heard it, they are lethargic, all manner. So I don't expect that all 14,000 will be fighting. No. But for me, once we've gone past 250, and that's me alone, there are other lawyers who have hundreds.
The debt exchange program became necessary after a debt sustainability analysis with the IMF that showed that government's debt is at unsustainable levels. The move is a prerequisite to get a $3 billion deal from the IMF. But the group who say the investments of all individual bondholders amount to 8 billion Ghana cedis believe their funds are not significant enough to disrupt the debt exchange program if excluded.
Anybody who tells you that we need this 8 billion to be able to get support from the IMF is lying to you. That would be a bare-faced lie. Let me repeat. Now, having understood the things on the ground, anybody who makes an argument that you need these individual bondholders whose money together, the total value is about 8 billion, you need them to do the debt exchange to be able to help the government get a deal with the IMF, is lying to you. It's not true. This is not at all.
The group believes there are several sources of funds, including diverting funds meant for road construction and the contingency fund, for which government can depend on to settle them.
ESLA, energy sector levies, right? ESLA bonds is one of the eligible bonds. Now, the ESLA bonds, what happens is that we issue those bonds so that against a certain constant stream of income, every liter of petrol you buy, the fuels, there's an ESLA levy in it. So it's a constant stream of income that's coming in. So ask government, how can you say you don't have money? So then go to Dachin, that's get fund. 2.5 get fund, that would be adding to VAT. The get fund like 2.5. It's also a constant stream of income. spent about 143 billion. Out of that, we've earmarked about 27 for capital expenditure, the things that you are saying. And a lot of them have to do with roads that we want to build. We've been building roads for all these years. So if in 2023 we have to step down the building of roads and pay back individuals who are owed money, so be it. A lot of them are roads. And I appreciate good roads. Yes, okay? But we're saying that right now people are owed about 8 billion. Don't take their money away so that you go and continue your roads. No, there's money. Pay them first. Don't rob Peter to pay Paul. And that's how come some of the people are even saying it's like government is running a Ponzi scheme.
Lawyer for the bondholders, Martin Pibu, has urged other individual bondholders not to extend any sympathies towards the government.
We are not asking government for a favor. It's people's hard-earned currency. So just give their money to them. That's it. And then next year comes, we raise, and it's not even all. So what belongs to government should use that to develop this year. And then next year, they will continue. Let's not have too much sympathy for government, because remember, before government got into this trouble, people had made noise, wondered that, hey, you are overborrowing. They said, no, that be that. No, we are not overborrowing. Oforiatta was warned. The president was warned. Check the tape. You see people there, your opposition. That's why you are saying all this. People were warned. Then number two, after COVID, the World Bank, having seen that, hey, there is danger ahead, came out with a program that come so that you get debt relief, etc. But the president and his brother, Oforiatta, they said no, they don't want it.
It appears government still has a lot of engagements to do as far as the debt exchange program is concerned. We are waiting to see what will happen with respect to this opposition coming in from these individual bondholders. Reporting for City News, Hanson.
So the lawyer for the individual bondholders isn't excited, and the bondholders themselves are not excited about the fact that government has included them in the debt exchange program. Well, this also happened with organized labor when they had to protest that should government fail to rescind its decision to include them in this exchange program, they are going to declare a strike, and that is going to be indefinite. Well, fast forward, government went ahead to exempt them from the debt exchange program. This has to do with like an engagement. It looks like the engagement wasn't done well, and there's this back and forth. But firstly, do you think that this is a way to replace what the organized labor couldn't do, and they are now bringing in this individual government bondholders?
Well, we know very well that this whole debt exchange by government is to help bring the debt levels to sustainable levels. Now, after the debt sustainable analysis with the IMF, we got the understanding that our debt to GDP was over 105%, was over 104%, about 105%. Now, this whole debt exchange that we're doing was to beat the number down to around 90%, looking at the local debt exchange, and then we add the external. The aim at the long run or the medium term is to bring our debts to sustainable levels at 55%. And so when the labor unions were able to get pension funds exempted, the government made it clear that this really was going to affect the program. They had to do this.
The finance minister made mention of that.
Yes, he made mention of that. And they had to do this because of the pressure that was coming in from the labor unions. And almost all labor unions were going to strike if government had gone ahead to include the pension funds. And the individual bondholders were exempted. So you may be right to say that it is a replacement for the pension funds that have been removed from it. Now, on the issue of engagement, I mean, there are a lot of things that we are not privy to.
Okay.
And we can only judge whether engagements have been successful through certain indicators. And one of those indicators is to how various stakeholders have reacted to this policy or program. If you are considering it on that basis, you may agree that negotiations
didn't go down
well. that may not mean that negotiations and engagements were not held. I can't engage you, but you will not agree with me. Yeah. So on that first level, maybe then the stakeholders generally do not agree with that idea by government. It may not necessarily mean that engagements and negotiations were not held. But the second thing for me is that before this whole thing, you remember there were issues from financial analysts, from economists, that there's going to be a haircut.
Yes.
Government denied vehemently. Subsequent to that, a committee, a 5-member committee, was set up to engage local bondholders on this debt restructuring. I'm thinking that perhaps government might have rushed the process. I mean, we've even heard from certain persons that the recommendations from the committee perhaps were not used in its entirety. This is something that I cannot speak to as a fact. But in my little understanding, if you had outdoored a committee, a 5-member committee, to do a particular thing, the processes that you would have gone through is to first come out and tell us the outcome of those engagements. What did the committee recommend? Then we may say that based on the recommendations of the committee, the government decided to do A, B, C, D. I think if it had gone through that total haul of a process, what would have happened is that government would have noticed all these nitty-gritties and addressed them before announcing the program. We've gone ahead to announce a program. We've secured a staff-level agreement with the IMF. We are waiting for the board agreement, hoping that we get this board agreement and get a $3 billion deal to bring our economy back on track. But the more we get these oppositions, the more implementation of this IMF policy in itself will become difficult. And mind you, that when we get even if we get the IMF deal, we won't. Even if we get the IMF deal, we won't get the $3 billion all in
one tranche. It
will come as and when you meet certain conditions and certain requirements. And if you are struggling to meet the prerequisite conditions, it tells you that we may struggle in meeting the main conditions for the monies to be released to us.
So I think that from what you have indicated, it also boils down with the engagement thing, because I was there when organized labor had to now sign a memorandum of understanding with government, that is the labor minister, the finance minister, and also some officials of the various government sectors. So fast forward, I think that what has to be done is more engagements must be done so that we will see the finality of this issue so far as the debt exchange program is concerned. You are still watching CNR Extra on City TV, still to come. New Patriotic Party warns it will not entertain the imposition of candidates on its members in the upcoming parliamentary and presidential primaries. Kindly stay with us. We'll be back with more.
It's City on the Go. You don't have to miss any of your favorite television and radio shows on City TV and City FM. Enjoy thrilling content from your world of great television and relevant radio at your convenience. Subscribe to CityTube on YouTube. Turn on your notification button and receive prompts on our live streaming sessions and new content uploads. For easy access to the CityTube page, scan the barcode on your screens. Subscribe to the CityTube page and voila! Unlimited content awaits you. Don't forget to subscribe to CityTube for amazing content from City TV and City FM.
City TV is live. On DSTV, go to channel 363. On GoTV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and StarTimes box. City TV, it's your world.
Many thanks for staying with us here on CNR Extra on City TV. The program is conversational. You can join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comments via our WhatsApp line on 0204 447033 as we read it loud to our audience or our viewers to hear what you have for us. Let's move straight to our next story. And the New Patriotic Party, the General Secretary of the party, Justin Frimpong Kodia, says that the party will not entertain the imposition of candidates on its members in the upcoming parliamentary and presidential primaries.
General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Justin Frimpong Kodia, says the party will not entertain the imposition of candidates on its members in the upcoming parliamentary and presidential primaries. Now, he indicates that the party will ensure a level playing field for all aspirants and will also be strict on the procedures leading to the election of parliamentary candidates and a flag bearer. City News' Ashanti Regional Correspondent Hafiz Tijani reports.
The New Patriotic Party is yet to officially release dates for its parliamentary and presidential elections, although some key personalities have declared their intentions to contest for the flag-bearer race. One issue that has created misunderstanding among party supporters during the parliamentary and presidential elections has always been the electoral album. General Secretary of the party, Justin Frimpong Kodia, who spoke to City News in Kumasi, says the party has learned some lessons and will ensure there is a credible album for the elections.
As a national party, before the end of this month, we are going to print the album that is in our custody for the region and the constituency to verify. And once that stage is cleared, then we know we have a credible register. Then two, the processes, the rules and guidelines that we are also going to issue out is also very key. It should be free, it should be fair, it should be transparent, it should be friendly, it should be feasible and practicable, so that at the end of the day, anyone who becomes the flag bearer of our party, those who would lose, will know that they went into a fair contest, and as our party ideology and principle dictates, that they lost to the better candidate, but not that they lost because they feel that they were shortchanged. And those that not promote unity in the party. Likewise, the parliamentary primaries. We have learned a lesson from the 2020 elections, where by the several allegations of imposition of some candidates in certain constituencies, and it's something that during my tenure as General Secretary of the party, it won't happen. We are going to give equal opportunity to any party member of good standing to be able to also go and contest, and at the end of the day, the best candidate will win.
The race to become the next flag bearer of the MPP is already heating up among supporters of the various prospective candidates. Mr. Kodia, however, tells City News the party must come out united after these two crucial internal elections.
It's important that we remain calm. It's important that our supporters have confidence in this crop of national executives that we have, that we will be fair but firm to make sure that at the end of the day there's a united party. And that is the most non-negotiable fundamental base that we need as a party. And I can assure you, if the processes go through in a fair and transparent manner, we will come out of the primaries as a united body. And we all know the task ahead of us. We are talking about breaking the 8. It's not easy just to break the 8. We need to do certain things differently. We need to make sure that as a party we hear the concerns of our rank and file. We need to make sure that as a party we are tolerant, we accept and also work with diverse views. And
concerns about bad roads have in recent times heightened in the Ashanti region, although some contracts have been awarded to fix the roads. The party says it will also push to get the government to address the concerns, especially in its stronghold.
Being here I've gone around a bit and I've seen some roads construction going on and some also that has been halted. And I've made notes of all these developments, and when I get to Accra, luckily enough, I have a scheduled meeting with the roads minister on Friday, and it's an issue that I intend to bring on board. But I can assure the good people of Ashanti region that the MPP, we cherish the region. We know that they are our stronghold. We know that in going to 2024, there are certain things that we need to do in this region to energize our base and also to give them hope that our continuous stay in government will be able to address certain issues and certain key developmental projects in the region.
The MPP wants its members to become and respect the processes.
So that is a report filed by Hafiz Tijani, and you saw the General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Frimpong Kodria. And we know that the former Trade and Industry Minister Alan Kojo Travantin has resigned. Also, we are picking up information that the Agric Minister, Efie Akoto Osei, Doctor, will also be resigning. We know that the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, is also standing or contesting for the presidential position or for the flag bearership position. We know of that of Kennedy Ejapon. We know of Kwabena Ejapon. But in all these, it looks like the party wants to put up structures to ensure that nobody is imposed on its members.
Yeah, and I think that the conversation on imposition actually borders more on parliamentary primaries, because for the presidential primaries, if you look at the people who are contesting, these are people with a lot of following. These are people with a lot of power and interest within the party. I shudder to think how easy it will be to impose anybody on anyone. And mind you, this is a party at a point in time had 17 people contesting for the flag bearer hopeful position. So I mean, we've had 17 to go.
Yeah.
I don't think that 6, 7, 8 will be a problem for them to be able to steer the affairs. The part on the how to forge unity in that presidential election is up to them as a party. And I believe that they have their own history to learn from. Again, on the presidential part, I think that they themselves understand what is at stake. They want to break the 8.
Exactly.
They want to do what has not been done before. Let me just keep it to our fourth Republican constitution. And 2024 presents a lot of dynamics. We are going into an election where Ghanaians have had an experience of a near-hang parliament. Will Ghanaians want to maintain a near-hang parliament?
Or they want to change the
or
situation?
They want to change and give one party a total grip of parliament? And if the NPP really wants to come to power, I believe after having a taste of a near-hang parliament, after having to fight and struggle their way through to pass policies like the e-levy, they will be as serious with the parliamentary race as they will be as with the presidential.
And coming on that, you spoke to the former energy minister and also flag bearer hopeful, that is Boakye Ejako, and he's raising some questions and he's asking the parties to be very circumspect when it comes to the selection of the date for the primaries.
Meanwhile, the former energy minister and flag-bearer hopeful of the MPP, Boakye Agyarko, has cautioned the party hierarchy to be circumspect in selecting dates for its primaries. The MPP stalwart believes any error in getting the date right may cost the party in the 2024 elections. We have more in this report.
The caution follows recent reports on selected dates for the presidential and parliamentary primaries of the New Patriotic Party. Even though the party hierarchy, through its General Secretary Justin Frimpong Kodia, has debunked such reports, Boakye Agyarko believes the report has created confusion among party members. He believes the party ought to have asked for a retraction of the story from the media.
Some action should have been taken against the reporter of the media house. It is not for me to say. It is for National Council to decide, or the national executives to decide. But hey, what can a reporter chooses to falsify? Maybe the best thing is to get the reporter to retract.
The party is mandated by its constitution to elect its flag bearer 12 clear months before election. But the former energy minister believes the party needs to select a specific date for the primaries, just like December 7 is the date for national elections.
Election, so that this confusion about electoral commissioner setting date to advantage or perceived advantage or disadvantage of one or the other. Why can't we?
So there you have it, Boakye Agyarko, who is the former energy minister and also a flag bearer hopeful of the New Patriotic Party. He's raising questions about the date that will be selected for the primaries. But for me, what do you make of the date? Does it really play a role? Because I think that once a soldier, always a soldier, you are ever ready to go in for the elections. Maybe what you need is just to campaign to delegates and ensure that they are on your side. And like Sir John, the late Sir John said, fear delegates. So maybe this is the time you may want to push your message down to delegates. Though the party hasn't really given the green light for people to do open campaign and all that.
Well, you may think a date as just a date, but a lot will go into it, and then you have to analyze it. And usually, when it comes to internal elections like this, there are usually those who are calling for an early Congress and those who are calling for a late Congress. Now, if you are taking the timelines of the NPP now, while in power, they're supposed to hold the election 12 months before the next election. So that will be, next election is 2024, December 7th. So that means that the Constitution gives them the liberty till December to hold the election. So there are those who are saying, let's go into December, late election. And then there are those who are saying, no, let's do it early. So early callers will be looking at July, August, around that side. And there are lots of things that go through. There are those who may think that they are not ready. And there are people who believe that if there's an early Congress, they may stand a chance today to win because they might have more appeal, and that if you go for a late Congress, you give room for other people to campaign, and then you may not know what will happen. And so I think that when I engaged Boakye Agyarko yesterday in an extensive conversation, his point basically was that if you look at the party's history, the selection of the date is very important. And that sometimes if dates are not selected properly and for the purpose of the party will lose. And the point he's making is that if you select a date just to, in his words, to mafia some persons, you might end up hurting the whole party. And the other concerns about having, say, an early Congress so that you can mend wounds in itself is not tenable, because the aim of the party should be to hold an election that wounds won't be inflicted in the first instance. So the point he was making is that the National Council, which is charged with the responsibility of coming with this date, should make sure that any date that they select should be at the utmost interest of the party, so that at the end of the day, you would have a process where when anybody loses, he agrees that he went through a fair process and he or she has lost.
Wow. So that is what is coming from the party, and trust us on CTTV. We will bring you all happenings in MPP so far as the flag bearership race is concerned. You are watching CNR Extra on CTTV, still to come. Management of University of Ghana justifies suspension of 4 former junior common room executives of Commonwealth Hall. Stay with us, we'll be back with more.
To the Effective Living Series 2023.
Another year is upon us, and we are poised to kickstart this new revolution with the utmost zeal. City TV and City FM present to you another rewarding season of the Effective Living Series. This year, the Effective Living Series will be riding on the back of the theme 2023 Starter Pack, Building Back Better. Every week, in the month of January, our team of renowned experts, alongside our exceptional host, Bernard Avlen, will delve into various thematic areas that have been carefully selected to cater to your holistic well-being in the coming year. Week 1 will focus on the importance of physical preparation for 2023. After that, we will take a look at emotional and mental health imperatives for 2023 in our second weekly series. Then, we will proceed to the third weekly series with emphasis on professional priorities for 2023. In our fourth and final week, we will dig into the strategic conversation on building financial foundations for 2023. The Effective Living Series will be live on the City Breakfast Show on 97.3 City FM at 9 a.m. and on Breakfast Daily on City TV at 9:30 a.m. from Monday through till Thursday. So join us and let's get ready to be equipped with practical information for building back better in 2023. The Effective Living Series is sponsored by Enterprise Insurance and Hallmark Freights and Logistics Ghana Limited.
Many thanks for staying with us here on CNR Extra. Let's move to some other stories. And the management of the University of Ghana has justified the decision to suspend 4 immediate past junior common room executives of the Commonwealth Hall. Management
of the university is justifying the suspension of 4 immediate past junior common room executives of the Commonwealth Hall. Now, the students were suspended for 3 academic years following conduct that sought to tarnish the offices of the Vice-Chancellor, the Pro-Vice-Chancellor, as well as the whole university. In a report cited by City News, the disciplinary board found that the 4 elected executives did not demonstrate credibility before the board and also committed.
So that's a very unfortunate situation, but Hanson, Agyeman, you have been covering this story extensively, and share with us what really is the details of this and what really went into the decision of management to go ahead to suspend this 4 former immediate executives of JCR.
Well, so all this is in relation to the clash that ensued between students of Commonwealth Hall and Mensa Saba Hall last year. Quite remember somewhere in August 5 into August 6, there was a clash where the bust of Mensa Saba was stolen. And subsequent to that, management of the university had to suspend the hall master and senior tutor of Commonwealth Hall, in their words, for not helping with investigations. Now, the students then organized a press conference to express solidarity to the hallmaster and to the senior tutor. And also, in that particular press conference, they made certain remarks and certain demands. And it is these remarks that the university deemed derogatory, deemed to have brought false charges against the university senior officers, including the vice chancellor, the pro-vice chancellor, and also defamed the persons of these officers. So an investigative committee was set up for these. There were actually 5, including the legal advisor, but he was acquitted and discharged because no evidence of wrongdoing was found against him. But the other 4, being the president, the vice president, the treasurer, the secretary, they were found of engaging in these acts that defamed the university officials and also were derogatory. And according to regulations for the university junior common room members, which is usually students, these are acts that the university frowns upon, and sanctions can be given.
So they have been suspended. But well, the former president of JCR of the Commonwealth Hall, that is Paul Enim Inkum, says that they are going to push for some legal redress on this particular issue. But you know, we are still going to bring you updates, and we are going to get more updates on this particular issue as it unfolds on the University of Ghana campus. Well, this is how we end today's edition of CNR Extra on City TV. Join us same time tomorrow as we bring you all the updates on stories that will air on CNR. My name is Philip Lartey. I did this with Hanson, Agyeman, and keep watching City TV.